Yes. Fine, guys. First, let me go and open the class notes. So already we done with class one, that is introduction to Power Platform. So let me go and open that class notes now. Go and open that class notes. And then, first of all, let me give some quick recap. I'll give some quick recap what we covered in the previous class for 60 minutes of time, right? So now, in the previous class, we discussed about the complete introduction to what? Microsoft Power Platform. So here in this class, what are the different points we covered? So we discussed about what is Power Platform. We discussed about what is meant by business applications. And we discussed about how to implement the business applications using Power Platform. And then next we discussed about Power Platform architecture. So what is the architecture of Microsoft Power Platform? As we know, uh, this is what the Power Platform architecture is. Power Platform architecture. So we discussed what is the architecture of Microsoft Power Platform in the previous class, right? And then the next point we discussed, the next point, what things we can do with the help of Power Platform. We know that these are all the 6 applications which we are able to implement with the help of Power Platform or within the Power Platform. And then next we understand who will use Power Platform and who will hire the Power Platform developers. So here clearly we understand, guys, who will use the Power Platform software, who will hire the Power Platform developers, and also we understand Power Platform is used for what? Power Platform is used for what? To implement the business applications, right? And then next we understand what is the need of business applications, and then we understand how to implement the business applications using Power Platform. So first we discussed about here, what is the need of business applications? Why the companies need to implement business applications? And also we understand about the business process, right? And then next we discussed about while implementing this business applications using Power Platform, there should be one process we need to follow. That process we'll call it as what? We'll call it as business applications process. So it is a how many step process? 4-step process. What are the 4 steps involved in this? These are the 4 steps involved. So we discussed each and every step in a detailed way in the previous class theoretically. Guys. Theoretically, we discussed about this business applications process. And then next, finally, we understand how to implement this business applications process with the help of this collection of softwares in the Power Platform. As we know that Power Platform means it's a collection of softwares. So we understand with the help of this collection of softwares, how to implement this 4-step business applications process. Theoretically, we covered. In the previous class, we discussed theoretically. So now what I'll discuss from here today's class means, I'll show you practically how to implement this 4-step business applications process at an high level. At an high level, how we'll go and implement this 4-step business applications process with the help of this collection of softwares in the Power Platform, we'll discuss, guys, right? Fine, okay. Now, before going to start discussing about practicals, let me mention few points here. Few points I want to mention here. So for every batch, we'll have the 4 introduction classes. So your batch number is batch 157. What is your batch number? 157. So for every batch, we'll have 4 introduction classes. We'll have how many introduction classes? 4 introduction classes. What are those 4 introduction classes? The class 1 is for introduction to Power Platform. And class 2 is for what? Introduction to Power Apps. And class 3 is for introduction to Power Automate. Introduction to what? Power Automate. And class 4 is what? Introduction to Power BI. Introduction to what? Power BI. So these are all the 4 introduction classes we'll have. For every batch, we'll have this introduction classes. So among all those introduction classes, already we done with class 1. Already we done with what? Class 1. That is what? Introduction to Power Platform, guys. Already we done with class 1. So let me keep here. Among those 4 introduction classes, already we done with class 1, right? So in the class 1, we discussed about what? 60 minutes of time. we understand a complete introduction to Power Platform. So now here, today is class 2. Today is what? Today is class 2. So in today's class, we'll go and discuss about what? We'll discuss about introduction to Power Apps, right? Fine, guys. So just copy and let me go and keep here. So consider today is class 2. Class 2. And here in today's class, we'll discuss introduction to Power Apps, right? Fine. So now, before going to start discussing what is Power Apps, first let me give the agenda for today's class, guys. First, I'll give the agenda so that you'll have some clear picture in your mind what I'm going to show you in today's class for the next 60 minutes of time, right? So let me, to understand the agenda for today's class, let me go to the architecture. Go to where? Architecture. So in today's class, what I am going to show you practically here is, so we'll understand how to create apps with the help of Power Apps software. We'll understand how to create the apps using Power Apps. Once after understanding how to create the apps using Power Apps, next we'll understand about from Power Apps, how we'll go and store the data in the data sources. We'll understand about what? How to store the data in the data sources. So here in today's class, I'll take one of the data source as SharePoint, guys. I'll take one of the data source as what? SharePoint. So now from Power Apps, once after storing the data in the data sources, now in the SharePoint, we'll have some data, right? I'm storing some data in the data source from Power Apps. Now, whatever the data is there in the SharePoint, now I want to display that same data again in the Power Apps. We'll understand about what? How to display the same data again in the Power Apps. Once off displaying the data, next we'll understand about what? Next we'll understand how to work with the data, guys. Once after showing the data in the Power Apps, we'll understand how to work with the data. Working with the data means what? Like updating the records, deleting the unwanted records, implementing the search functionality, searching the data, or filtering the data, or sorting the data, or performing the bulk update operations, but how to update multiple records at a time. And also we'll understand how to perform the bulk delete, how to delete multiple records at a time. And also we'll understand bulk insert, how to insert the multiple records at a time. So these are all nothing but working with the data, guys. So in our coming classes, just about how to work with the data, we'll understand extensively around 9 to 10 hours, guys. 9 to 10 hours, we'll be understanding how to work with the data, right? So this is what's the agenda for today's class. So what we'll understand in today's class, we are going to discuss how to create the apps using Power Apps. Once after creating the app, next we'll understand from Power App, how we'll go and store the data in the data sources. Once after storing the data in the data source, next we'll understand how to display that same data again in the Power Apps. Once after displaying the data, next we'll understand how to work with the data. So this is what I'm going to show you practically here in today's class, guys, right? Fine, okay. Now, let's start understanding about Power Apps. Now here, what I'll do in today's class is, directly before going to start creating the app using Power Apps directly, first I will give some brief introduction to data sources, guys. First, I will give some brief introduction to what? Data source. So what is the data source I'm taking here in today's class? SharePoint. So let me give the definition, a brief definition or any brief introduction to what is SharePoint, guys. And then once after understanding about what is SharePoint, then later we'll go and understand how to create an app using Power Apps, and then how to store the data in the SharePoint, and then how to show that data again in the Power Apps. Then we'll understand how to work with the data, right? Fine. So first, here in today's class, we'll understand about SharePoint. Let me give some brief introduction to SharePoint. So now, as I said that already, SharePoint is what software? I'm considering it as a data source software. So let me go and mention that point here, guys. As we know that already, SharePoint is it's a cloud-based data source software, which is used to store and manage the organizational business data in the form of list, comma, in the form of documents. List in the form of documents, everything at one place. So this is what the definition of SharePoint is. In simple words, what is SharePoint? I'm telling that SharePoint is one of the data source software, which is used for what? To store and manage the organizational business data in the form of what? List. So what's meant by a list, guys? List is nothing but a table. List is nothing but what? Table. So in the SharePoint terminology, we don't call it as tables, guys. We'll call it as what? In the SharePoint terminology, tables are called as what? List, right? So majority of the times we'll store the data in the form of tables only, guys. That means list. But there are some cases where we'll store some kind of data in the form of documents also. So we'll store some kind of files here in the SharePoint. So files like what? Documents like we can store them something like Word document or Excel files, Excel, or any CSV files, or if you have any PPTs, any PPT files, or if you have any images. So like this, whatever the file is, if there is any file, you can store that files in the SharePoint, right? So this is what the definition of SharePoint. Okay, now we understand SharePoint is a data source software, which is used to store and manage the organizational business data in the form of tables. That is nothing but a list, or you'll store some kind of documents like files, Word, Excel, CSV, PPTs, any images. So all those files it can store, right? Okay. Now, next point we need to understand here. I'm telling that SharePoint is what software? I'm telling that it is a data source software. Now, what is meant by data sources? Already we discussed this in the class one, in the previous class. So already I said that about what is meant by data sources. Now someone can answer what is data source, which I discussed already in the previous class here. I said that data source means what? The place where the companies will store their business data. We'll call it as what? We'll call it as data sources. So let me go and mention that point here, guys. As we know that already, what is meant by data sources means the place where the companies will store their business data, we'll call it as data sources, right? Fine. And now, let me go and store the data in the SharePoint in the form of tables or in the form of documents, guys. Now, in order to store the data in the SharePoint, first of all, we need to understand how to open the SharePoint software. Let me keep here how to open what? SharePoint. To open the SharePoint, we need to go and use one web URL, guys. What is that URL? m365.cloud.microsoft. You need to go and log in with this URL, guys. So let me go and take this URL and then go to any one of their browser. Go to any one web browser, guys. So let me go to the Google Chrome and I'll go to the incognito mode, and I'll go with this URL, m365.cloud.microsoft. So when I go with this URL, so it is asking me to sign into the Microsoft. It is asking me to sign into what? Microsoft. Let me click on sign in, guys. When I click on sign in, it will ask you to pass the user details like user ID and password. So let me go and log in with one of the user, guys. I'll take one of this user. I'll go and take this user details. Let me take this user, just copy it, and I'll paste it here. So make a note. If you want to practice the Power Apps, Power Automate, SharePoint, this softwares, must and should you need to have them Microsoft 365 developer account, guys. You need to have which license? Microsoft 365 developer account. So if you want to purchase this license, it will be around 5,000 plus month per day. Sorry, plus 5,000 plus per month, right? So you don't want to purchase this license, guys. As I mentioned already in the previous class, we'll provide this license for free of cost up to 6 months. So here, your normal Gmail account, Outlook account doesn't work. There is no doubt in that, right? So we'll share these licenses to you people who got registered. Now, just go and click on the next button and let me enter the password. Let me check what the password it be. Right. Go here, copy and paste it, and click on sign in. And now just click on this button here. Click on this button. Right. So now I'm logging to what? I'm just close this tab. Close it. Just wait. It's taking some time. So I'm logging to what here? Microsoft 365. From here, you can go and access all the different types of Microsoft applications, guys. Right? So from here, you can access all the different types of Microsoft applications. So to access them, just go to the tab search. Go to this tab and then go and search for SharePoint here. Just go and search for what? SharePoint. Right? You can see the SharePoint application. Just select it. When I select this, now it will go and open the SharePoint now. It will go and open what? SharePoint. So it is giving some preview. Just click on close. Click on close. Just close this tab. So now I'm opening which software? SharePoint. Now once after opening the SharePoint, now within the SharePoint, my requirement is what? I want to store the data in the form of list. List is nothing but a table. So now if you want to go and store the data within the SharePoint, then first of all, we need to go and create something called site here, guys. If you want to store the data in the SharePoint in the form of list, so first of all, we need to go and create something called what? Site. Now, how to create a site? To create a site, you need to go to this tab called Build tab. Go to this tab called Build. And then you can see there's an option here called Site. So let me go and understand how to create a site, guys. Right? When I select the site here, now here two types of sites is there. One is team site. Second is what? Communication site. So now what is the difference between these two? You'll understand, guys. In the coming classes, we'll discuss. So here, before going to select the site type, let me go and mention a few points here. So as we come to know, to store the data in the SharePoint, first of all, we need to create what? We need to create something called site. Now, what's meant by a site? Site is it acts as a database or a container. It acts as a database or a container, which is used to store and manage the organizational business data. What is meant by site? Site is like a database cache. People, those who are coming from a SQL background, or people, those who are coming from Oracle or SharePoint background, database knowledge, who is having some database knowledge, you people know what is database cache, right? So same here, site will also act as one of the database or a container where you can store and manage the organizational business data, right? So now we understand about what is a site. Now here we have the different types of sites, guys. As I said, that how many types is there? Two types. Types of sites. There are two types of sites we'll have. One is team site. One is team site. Second one is communication site. Communication site. So these are the two types of sites we'll have, guys. Now, when to go and use the team site, when to go and create the communication site, what is the difference between them? You will come to know. In the coming classes, we'll discuss, guys. As today is the introduction classes, just try to understand how to create a site. So for now, in today's class, I'm going to create a team site, guys. In the real-time scenarios also, 90% of the cases will go and create the team sites only. Let me go to the select the team site and then go and select some template. It will showing some templates, ready-made template here. I'll go and take the standard template, guys. Select what? Standard template here, right? And then it is showing the preview of the template. Just click on use this template. Click on use this template. And it is asking us to provide the site name here. It is asking us to provide what? The site name. So let me go and provide the site name here. I'll pass the site name as your batch number, batch 157. Let's take 7:30 p.m. For better understanding purpose, I'm passing the site name as what? Your batch number. Once after passing the site name, just go and click on create site, guys. Click on what? Create a site. When I click on create site, now it is creating a site for us. You can see it is creating a site for us. Let it create, guys. Let it create. So it will take some fraction of seconds of time. Let it create. Once the site is created successfully, uh, it will go and open that site for us. You see, your site is ready. Now just go and click on go to site. Click on this option. When I select this option, now it will go and open the site for us. So this is how the site will looks like, right? So this is the site name you can see. This is what our site name, right? Once after creating the site, now within the site, what we need to do? We need to go and store the data in the form of what? A list. So now how to create a list here in the site? Once the site is created, within this site, I want to create one list. So before going to understand how to create a list, let me keep here. What is the definition of list, guys? What is meant by a list? Now try to understand. In general, what is meant by a list? List means list is nothing but it is used to store the data in the form of columns and rows. Simple guess. List is used for what? In simple or in general, we can say that it is used to store the data in the form of columns and rows. If you are storing something in the form of columns and rows, then basically we'll call it as what? Table. We'll call it as what? Table. But in the SharePoint terminology, we don't call it as tables, guys. We'll call it as what? We'll call it as a list. Keep in mind this terminology. So don't call it as tables, guys. Keep in mind the terminology here. We'll call it as a list. This is what the general meaning of list is. But what is meant by a list in the SharePoint terminology now? In the SharePoint terminology, what's meant by a list? The meaning of list in the SharePoint is different, guys. Let me keep here. What's meant by a list means in the SharePoint terminology, the list will contains the fields, comma, list items. What the list contains? It will contains the fields, comma, list items. Fields are nothing but what, guys? Fields are nothing but columns. In the SharePoint terminology, we don't call it as columns. We'll call it as what? Field. List items is nothing but what? List items is nothing but rows. List items is nothing but what? Rows. So keep in mind this terminology, guys. In the SharePoint, we don't call it as tables. We'll call it as a list. And columns are called as fields. Rows are called as list items. So this is what the meaning of a list is. What's meant by a list? Now, let's try to understand how to create one list. I'll show you how to create a list for students, guys. Students list, right? In this list, I want to keep the fields. Fields are nothing but what? Columns. What columns I want to keep? Let's take student name, email ID, mobile number, course, and let's take graduation or educational background. So these are the different columns I want to keep in this list, right? Okay. Now let's try to understand how to create this list in the SharePoint, guys. Let me go to the SharePoint now, and first go to the site, and in this site, go to the option called new option. Here, there's an option called new. Just select this option. Here you will find an option called list, but it is not showing here somehow. So it is showing here, guys. Somewhere previously it is showing here in the top, but now it is showing here in the bottom. Okay, fine, no problem. Let me select the list here. Go and select the list. When I select the list, now it allows you to create a list. You want to create a list, right? So let me select this option. Go and create a list from the blank. From the blank, I'll show you how to create a list, guys. Select this option. Now it is asking us to pass the list name. Let me keep the list name as what? Students list. And then click on create. When I click on create, now it is going to create a list for us with the name what? Students. Let it create. Fine, okay. So now this is the list name. Students is the list name. You can see that here. And now try to understand one point here. Whenever if you go and create a list in the SharePoint, by default, SharePoint will add one column called title column, guys. SharePoint by default, SharePoint will go and add one default column called what? Title. So we can rename this column name, guys. I will rename this column name to what? Student name. How to rename it, I will show you. But before that, let me go and add these columns. So how to add the columns? You can see there is an option called add columns here. Just select this option. And then you can see there is an option called add columns. So just click on this next button here. So if you want to see more space, just minimize the screen size. And now you can just again minimize somehow. Let me go and click on add column. Now you can see this type of UI here, create a column. Just click on the next button here, click on the next. And here you can see there is an option to create a column, create column. So you need to pass the column name here. Let me pass the column name as email column, email. And if you want to provide any description about this column, you can provide, otherwise just ignore it. Next, type, it is important. It is important. Why it is important means, what is meant by type means data type here. So you are creating one column, email column. Now into this column, what type of values you want to store? Whether you want to store the numerical values, text values, decimal values, Boolean values, array values, what values you want, date and time values, what values you want to store. So we don't recommend to keep all the different values under one column, right? So into this column, what type of values you want to allow, who will decide? Data type will decide. So here we have the different types of data types, guys. Single line, multi-line, number column, yes or no, person or a group, date and time, choice, currency, lookup columns, image column, manage metadata. So there are different columns is there. We'll work on all the different types of columns in our upcoming sessions. So in today's class, I'll take few data types. For now, I'll take the data type as single line of text and then go and click on save. When I click on save, now you can see it is added the column called what? Email. Now let me go and add few more columns. Next column, I want to add mobile. Let me select the add columns, click on the next button, quickly create the columns, mobile column. I'll go with the data type as single line only, click on save. And next add one more column. I want to add the course. And then let me take the data type as choice now, choice column. Courses means we'll have less number of courses, right? I'll take it to the choice. And let me pass the different choices. Course, Power Apps. Second course I'm keeping here, Power BI. And next, another course I'm keeping here, SQL Server, right? Let's take, these are the different courses I'm keeping. If you want to add more, there is an option called add choices. You can add more choices. When I select this, it will ask you to pass another choice. I want to go with only these 3 choices for now. And then go and click on save. So this is the column course added. Next, let me go and add one more column called educational background. Education, single line of text. So go with the data type as single line, click on save. Right, these are the columns we'll have. Now, my requirement, I need to go and rename this column name. How to rename this column name? Simple. You are in the list now, right? And then go to the settings. Select the list, go to the settings. In the settings, I want to go to which settings? List settings. I want to go to the settings of this list. Go to the list settings. And then you can see all the columns here. These are the columns. There is a section called column section. So online people, someone is, please be unmute. Make sure, please be unmute. So you can see these are all the columns just now we created, guys. There is a column called title. Let me select that column. Select that column. Now you can rename this column name. I will rename it to what? Student name, yes name. And then scroll down, click on OK. Now you can say I'm changing the column name here, right? And then go to the table. Go to the table or a list. Now these are the columns we'll have. Okay. Now we understand how to create a list, and then we understand how to add the columns to the list. Now, why I'm creating a list here? List is nothing but a table. Why I'm creating a table? To store the students' data. Let's say, whenever the new student is inquiring for any course in the AB trainings, let's take, if any student is inquiring for the courses in the analytics benchmark, I want to store the students' data here, right? So now, once the list is created, let me show you how to insert the data, guys. To insert the data, always there is an option called new option here. Go to the option called new, and then it will open one form-like structure. Let me enter the data. Let's take student name is equals to Warner, email ID. Let me enter some dummy value. Mobile number. I'll keep some mobile number. A course, let's take Power Apps. Educational background, let's take BTech. And then go and click on save. Click on save. When I click on save, now see automatically that record is created here. So here I am in the development stage. Let's take I'm the developer, so I can enter the data manually, guys. So this is how you can enter the data manually in the data source directly. You are going to the SharePoint as a source directly. You are entering here. But now what's my requirement here is, I don't want to insert the data into the SharePoint list directly from the SharePoint. What's my requirement here is, I want to create an app now. I want to create one simple app where I can enter the new students data, where I can enter some new students data in the app. So whatever the data I'm entering in the app, that data I want to store here in the SharePoint list. So in order to go and create an app, now I'll go and use what? I'll go and use Power Apps. So now with using Power Apps, we'll understand how to create an app, one simple app for new inquiry data, whenever the students are inquired. So I want to, my team need to go and enter that students data in the app. Whatever the data are entering in the app, that data automatically I want to store in the SharePoint list. So still now we understand about what is SharePoint, what is site, what is a list, and then how to store the data here manually. Now let's try to understand how to create an app using Power Apps. And through Power Apps, how we'll go and store the data in the SharePoint list, right? Fine, okay. Now, let me go and discuss about what is Power Apps, guys. So now first, let me keep the definition here. Let me keep the definition. So if someone will ask you what is Power Apps means, then what's the answer from your end? So already we discussed, already given the definition in the previous class, guys. In the previous class, when I'm discussing about the business applications process, already we understand about what is Power Apps. So anyone, if someone will ask you what is Power Apps, what is the definition from your end? If you know, you can answer, guys. There is nothing wrong. Unmute and you can answer it. Right. Okay. Here, in the previous class, we discussed about what is Power Apps. So I said that what is Power Apps here? Power Apps is used to create apps or the forms within the Power Platform. If someone will ask you what is Power Apps means, this is the simple definition you can give. There is nothing wrong in that case. It is correct. If someone will ask you what is Power Apps means, then this is a simple definition. Power Apps is used to create some apps or the forms within the Power Platform. There is nothing wrong in the definition, right? This is the simple definition, guys. So now Power Apps just not only to create an app, guys, or forms. Apart from that, what things we can do with the help of Power Apps now, or what the Power Apps can do. So let me keep here another definition, guys. Let me keep here what actually we can do with the help of Power Apps. So as we know that first point, Power Apps is used for what? Power Apps is used to create the apps or the forms which is used to collect the data, from the customers. Once after collecting the data, submits the data to the data sources. We'll go and submits the data to the data sources. Once after submitting the data to the data sources, next we'll do what? Next, we can use Power Apps to display the data. Power Apps, once after storing the data sources, display the data in Power Apps. We can display the data in the Power Apps, which is stored in the data sources. Whatever the data you are storing in the data sources, we can display that data again. Once after displaying the data, next we'll do what? And also use it to work with the data stored in the data sources. And also we'll do what? We'll go and work with the data stored in the data sources. This is what the definition is, or what we can do with the help of Power Apps. Let me explain in a detailed way. As I said that first point, Power Apps is for what? It is used to create some apps or the forms. Why we are creating the apps or the forms? Because I'm going to use them to collect some data from the customers. These are used to engage the customers. So we'll collect some data from the customers. So once after collecting the data, what we'll do? We'll go and store that data in the data sources. We'll go and store that. Storing means submitting. We'll submit the data to the data sources. This is the third step. Once after submitting the data to the data sources, next we'll do what? We can display the same data again in the Power Apps. Whatever the data is there in the data sources, we can display that same data again in the Power Apps, right? Once after displaying the data, next we'll do what? Next we'll go and work with the data. Once off displaying the data, next we'll do what? We'll go and work with the data. So working with the data means what? As I said, that update in the records, delete in the records, search, filter, sort, these are all comes under working with the data. So this is what we can do with the help of Power Apps, guys, right? So the same, whatever the definition I kept here, the same I given the agenda in the beginning of today's class. I said that what I'm going to show you, I'll show you how to create an app using Power Apps. And then I'll show you from Power Apps how to store the data in the data sources. Once after storing the data, next I can show this same data again in the Power Apps. Once after showing the data, next I'll do what? We'll go and work with the data. That's what the definition I'm keeping here also, guys, right? Okay, fine. So I'll show you this point. I'll show you how to create one simple app with 4 to 5 screens. I'll show you how we'll enter the data. I'll show you how to store the data. I'll show you how to display the data again the Power App, and then I'll show you how to work, right? Fine. So in order to go and do this, first of all, we need to understand how to open Power Apps. How to open Power Apps. So let me go and open the Power Apps, guys. To open the Power Apps, there are 2 ways. One way, you can open it from the Microsoft 365. One way, you can open it from the Microsoft 365. Another way, to open the Power Apps directly if you want to open the Power Apps means, go with this URL, make.powerapps.com. When I go with this URL, directly it will go and open the Power Apps software, guys, right? Fine, okay. So as today is the first class for you, I will show you how to open the Power Apps from the Microsoft 365, guys. In the coming classes, we'll discuss this one also, right? Fine. So to open the Power Apps, let me go to the Microsoft 365. Let me go to M365 and then go to the search bar. Here, go and search for what? Power Apps. When I search for Power Apps, you can see the Power Apps application. Just go and select it. Select this application. Now it will open what? It will open the Power Apps software. It is opening what? Power Apps software. Click on Get Started. Right. It is opening what? It is opening the Power Apps software. So once after opening the Power Apps software, the first thing you need to do, you need to go and connect to something called environment, guys. If you see on the top right side, here there is something called environment. You need to connect to the environment. So it depends, guys, which environment you want to connect. You'll understand in the coming classes. For now, what I'll do here is I'll go here. We have one environment called default environment. I'll go and take this environment for now. Let me select this environment. For you people, it will show different environments like dev, test, and prod. It will show different types of environments. So in whichever the environment is assigned to you, you please go and connect to that environment first. So I'll connect to the default for me, right? Okay, once after connecting to the environment, now you need to go to the Create tab. You need to go to which tab? Create tab. Once after going to the Create tab, now it is telling us from here you can create the apps, right? Now let's start understanding how to create an app from the blank. From the scratch, I will show you how to create one app here in today's class. Let me select this option. When I select it, now it is asking you to select the layout. Okay, you want to create an app. You want to create that app for which layout? You want to create the app for the phone layout or tablet layout or responsive. Responsive means you can use this app in the mobile, tablet, and also in the desktops. So we'll discuss all of this in our coming classes, guys. So for now, in today's class, I'll take the phone layout. I'll take what? Phone layout. Let me select the layout. Now it will go and open what? Power Apps Studio. It will go and open what? Power Apps Studio. What is Power Apps Studio? Power Apps Studio is the place where the Power Apps developers will go and create apps. Now see, it is telling us what? Welcome to Power Apps Studio. Just click on skip, guys. So this complete is called as Power Apps Studio user interface, guys. This complete is called as what? Power Apps UI. So what is the UI of Power Apps? We have the different options here. Lot of options is there. So you need to understand what each option will do, right? I'll discuss in the coming classes for 1 hour of time. For 1 hour of time, I'll discuss about the UI case, right? So in today's class, just try to understand how I am creating one app for A/B trainings here. I'll show you how to create an app for A/B trainings itself for new students inquiry data, right? So first, let me save the app with some name, guys. How to save the app? You can see there is an option called save option here. Just select that option and pass the app name, A/B trainings, and click on save. Pass the name and click on save. If you want, I'll pass your batch number also for reference, 157 batch. Click on save. Now, when I click on save, now see it is saving your app. So once the app is saved, where we can see the app name on the top right side, you can see the app name here, right? Okay. Now, once after saving the app, now let's start creating this. So here where we can design app means, this is the place. This one we'll call it as Canva. This one we'll call it as what? Canva. Canvas. Or we can call it as a screen also. By default, what is the name? It is screen one. We'll call it as screens or we'll call it as Canva. So Canva is the place where we will go and design or create the apps based on the client requirement, right? Fine, okay. Let's start understanding this. So as we are going to create the app for A/B trainings, that too for new inquiry data. So first my requirement, I want to change the screen color, guys. This screen background color is white. Let me change it. How to change? You need to write any code here? No. Just select the screen. Select the screen. This screen will have some properties. This screen will have some properties. There is a property called fill property. Just go to the property and change the fill color to red. I'll change the background color to what? Red. Okay. And next here, I want to add the logo of A/B training somewhere in here on the top. Here I want to add. So to add the logo, you can see there is a property called background image property, guys. So you can use this property to add the images. So let me go and go to this drop down and upload one image. Select what? Upload an image. Now it allows you to upload some images from your local system, guys, from your own system. So let me go here. I'll upload one image, analytics benchmark logo. Select the file and click on open. Right, now see when I add the file, so it is adding that image exactly in the center, guys. But let's say my requirement here, I don't want to keep it in the center. I want to keep somewhere on the top here. So what I'll do, it is not possible to do it here. So I'm not going to add any image, keep it as none. So to keep the image, I'll go to the tab called Insert tab. There is a tab called Insert tab. This tab is very, very important tab, guys. Insert tab is a very, very important tab. So now what is this Insert tab contains? If you see when I go to the tab Insert, so you can see there are different controls is there. These are all called as controls: text label, form, text input, gal. So these are all called as controls. So how many controls you'll have here? We have more than 250 plus controls, guys. 250 plus controls is there. Now, what is the use of these controls? By using these controls only, you are going to design the app here now, right? So my requirement, I want to show the logo of A/B trainings. So I'll go to this insert tab, and then let me go and search for one of the control. What is it? Image control. Just select that control, guys. Automatically it'll add the control to the screen. Now you can just drag and drop. You don't want to write any code. Just drag and drop, increase the height and width. Now select this control. This control will have the properties. There is a property called image property. Go to this property, upload the image. Already we uploaded, right? Select that image here. Now it is added the image. Now image position to fill. And drag and drop this image somewhere on the top, right? Okay. This is what the A/B trainings logo I wanted. And next here, I want to keep some text as trainings. Analytics benchmark is doing what? We are providing some training. So let me go and add one control. Again, go to the Insert tab now to keep the text. Add one control called text label. Select the control. Automatically it will add the control to the screen. You don't require to write any coding here. Automatically it's adding this control to the screen. And then now, let me go and do some basic formatting, guys. So by default is showing some value text. So I want to change that value first. How to change that value? So this control will have a property called text property. Select property. That property value you can see here in the formula bar. Now let me go and change it. I want to change it to trainings. And then let me keep it in semi-bold, align it to center, change the font color to white. Font color to what? White. And then increase the font size to 35. And let me keep some spacing between each and every letter, guys, so that it feels looks good, right? Now analytics benchmark is doing what? They're providing some training. Okay. Next, I don't want to concentrate more on the design part. Now directly let me keep some text here called get started, guys. I want to keep some text called what? Get started. Let me go and add one more text label. Go to the insert tab, add a text label. Just drag and drop this text label here. In this text label, I want to keep it in the semi-bold, align it to center, font size to 35. Let me change the text to get started. So one way I shown you how to change the text value. Another way is just double click on it, double click. Let me change the value, get started. And then I want to change the background color for this label. Select this text label, go and change the background color to yellow. And then increase the height, somehow increase the height. So this is what the text I'm keeping, get started. Now, next, what's my requirement here is, whenever I go and click on this get started, whenever the user click on this get started, what's my requirement? I want to open one form. I want to open one form where the users will go and enter the students data, where the users will go and enter what? The students data. So I want to create one form. In that form, I want to keep the fields like student name, email, mobile, course, and education. These are all the columns I want to keep, fields. I want to create this type of form now. I want to understand how to create this type of form. Once after creating the form, next we need to understand how to insert the data into this form. Okay, I'm creating one form here, right? Now we'll go and insert some data, like student name, email, mobile number, course, and education bag. Once after entering the data, now I want to store this data in the SharePoint. To store the data, what I'll do, I'll go and keep one button here called submit button. I'll keep one button called what? Submit. So whenever the user click on this button, then whatever the data is there in this form, that data I want to store in where? In the data source. I want to store that data in where? In the data source. What is the data source I'm taking here? SharePoint. So in the SharePoint, where I want to store the data? In a list. What's that list name? Students. This is what my requirement now. This is what my requirement. This is what the major in today's class, major concept in today's class. Now, first of all, let's try to understand how to create this form, guys. So creating the form is complex in Power Apps? No, it is dead easy. You don't require any coding now to create the form. Simple. Let me show you how to create the form first. To create a form, right now I'm having only one screen, right? Let me go and add one more screen here. To add a screen, you can see there is an option called what? New screen. Let me go to this option, new screen option, right? Let me go to this option, new screen. And then it will show us the different screens here. For now, let me take the blank screen, select the screen blank. It will add the screen 2, right? Now this in the screen 2 also, I want to change the background color to red. And then let me go and add some header here. Let me keep the header as new student inquiry form. Go add one text label. Keep the text label here somewhere on the top. And let me align it to center. Keep it in semi-bold. Increase the font size to 32. And change the font color to white. Let me change it to what? New student inquiry form, right? Okay. And also, as it is a header, let me go and add some border, guys. I want to add some border. So select this text label. Go to the property called border property. Add some border thickness to 5. And change the border color also to red. Right. Now it is adding some border. Increase the height. Okay. It feels better now. Now let me go and create the form. Let me go and create one form. So to create the form, simple, not required any coding. Just again, go to the tab called Insert tab. Go to the Insert tab. And then let me add this control, Edit Form control. Add the control. Select this control. It will add the control to the screen. Just drag and drop wherever if you want to keep it. Just drag and drop. increase the height, keep the height up to here, fine. And now see, try to observe, guys. Whenever if you go and add one form, now what this form is telling for us, it is telling that this form is not connected to any data. Please connect to the data source. So it is asking us, connect the form to the data source. Now, how you can connect the form to the data sources? So first of all, you need to connect to the SharePoint as a data source. Your app need to connect to the SharePoint as a data source. So how to connect to the SharePoint as a data source now? Go to the Power Apps. And then you can see there is an option called Data tab here. There is a tab called what? Data tab. Just go to this tab and then go and click on Add Data. Click on Add Data. And then go and search for what? SharePoint. SharePoint. When I search for SharePoint, you can see what SharePoint connection is there. Let me select this option. This option will help you to connect to the SharePoint as a data source. Let me select that option. And it is asking us to pass the connection type. Let me go to the cloud. I'm using the SharePoint cloud. Let me select this option and click on connect. When I click on connect, now what it will do, it will connect to the SharePoint. And also automatically it will show the site name first. What is the site we created? This is the site. It need to show the site name. Let it establish the connection first. Yes, the connection is established. So it is not showing the site name here. Sometimes it will show the site name and sometimes it doesn't show. First of all, we need to go to the site. So how we can come to the site now? So let me go to the SharePoint and then go to the URL. Go to this URL. Copy the URL up to the site name. This is my site name. Copy the URL up to the site name. Just copy this URL and then go to Power Apps. Copy and paste it here and then click on connect. When I click on connect, now see, it is going to connect to that site and automatically showing the list name, students list. Select that list and click on connect. When I click on connect, so I'm going to connect to this list in the SharePoint. Your Power Apps is connecting to the SharePoint list. Okay, you can see the SharePoint list here, students list. Now what's my requirement here is, I want to connect this list to the form. I want to connect this list to the form. How to connect this list to the form? Select the form and then form will have a property called data source property. Go to the data source. It will show that list name. Select that list. Now, whenever I select the list, whenever I connect the form to the list, now what is happening here, guys? If you observe, what is happening? Automatically, Power Apps is creating one form-like structure. I am creating the form here. No, I am not creating it. Whenever I connect the form to the data source, automatically Power Apps is creating. How it is happening? Because Power Apps will have that intelligence. Whenever if you connect the form to the data source, Power Apps will go and read the columns. What columns is there in the SharePoint? By reading the columns, automatically it will create one form-like structure. So now I want to do some modifications in this form, guys. So first my requirement, there is a column content type, which is not required. It is a default column, just remove it. How to remove this column? Simple, select the form. This is the name of the form, select the form, and then go to the property called fields property. Go to the fields property. And then you can see all the fields here. Remove this field content type. Go to the more options here, click on remove. Remove the field. Okay, once after removing it, next my requirement, I want to go and increase the font size, font weight for the title, and also the place where we will go and enter the values. So let me quickly do some basic formatting skills. Let me go and select the student name, S name, select the S name, keep it in semi-bold, increase the font size to 30, change the font color to white. Let me select the place where we'll enter the values, keep it in semi-bold, font size to 28. Do the same formattings for remaining all, guys. Select the email. Let me do it as soon as possible. For drop down, it is not showing the properties here. Go to the properties in the left, right navigation, property, font property, 30. Let me go with 32, 28, 28, and then keep it in the semi-bold, right? Okay. And then go to the education, semi-bold, font size to 30, change the color to white. Right. Okay. Now this is the form I'm creating. Now let me go and keep some border for this form so that it feels better. Let me go and add some border thickness to 5, change the border color also to white. And then let me reduce somehow the width for the border. Width of the form so that you can see the border now, right? I can see the border. Just zoom in once. Right, okay. So this is the form I'm having here, right? Once after creating the form, let me go and add the button called submit button. I'll add one button. So go to the insert tab and then go and add what? A button control. Let me add the button. So just drag and drop this button here, guys. Just keep the button control here and change the button text. Double click on it and change it to submit. And then increase the font size to 30. Or let me keep it as 35. Fine. Let me change the font color to red. Change the background color to white. Now it looks better. Zoom in, reduce somehow the width. Okay, it feels better. Now copy the same button, copy it, Control C, Control V. Keep it here. Now this button is to reset the form. It is for what? To reset the form, right? Okay. Now I'm ready with the screen, guys. Now when I want to open the screen now, in the screen one, whenever the user click on this get started, then only I want to go to the screen two, right? So now let me go and save the app, and then play it. You can see there is an option called play button, preview button. So you can test the functionality of app. Now, when I click on this preview button, now the app is in the play mode. App is in which mode? Play mode. Now see, when I click on this get started, let me check it is going to the screen two or not. If you see, when I click on this get started, it is not going to the screen two, guys. Why? Because there are two possible reasons. So anybody can guess what are those two possible reasons? Why it is not going to the screen two when I click? Yes.
That is not a button, and there is
No
no navigation.
links.
Correct. So first thing,
We are
it is
created
not a
yesterday.
so it is not a button control. First of all, it is not a button control. It is what control? Text label. So text labels are used to just to show some value. Whenever if you want to show some text or a value, use the text label. But here my requirement not only show the value, I want to take an action now. I want to take some action also. Whenever if you want to take some actions, so in place of adding the text labels, you need to go and add what? Buttons. So let me remove this text label, guys. Go to this text label, delete it. Delete this, right? And then go to the insert tab, add a button, Just drag and drop it here. Change the text, increase the font size to 35, keep it in semi-bold, change the color to black, background color to yellow, right? So now if you see, when I go and play this app, when I go and play the app, when I save it and then play, if you observe, if you see, there is a hand raise. Whenever I hold the mouse on this button, there is a hand raise. Whenever there is a hand raise, it is a button, so that where you can take some actions. But here, if you see, when I hold the mouse on this, it is showing some cursor blink. That means it is not a button. Okay, it is a button now. But when I click on this button, it is going to the screen to no. Why? Because it is just a button control. You are just adding one button. Now you need to tell the Power Apps. You need to tell the Power Apps that whenever the user click on this button, what I need to do, I want to navigate the users from screen 1 to screen 2. So how you can tell the Power Apps now? Whenever the user click on the button, navigate that users from screen 1 to screen 2. For that, select the button. This button will have one property, guys. Whatever the properties you are seeing here, the same properties you can see here also. Same properties you can find out here. Here you can find out there is a property called on select property. That means on select of this button, what need to happen? Select the property and go and write the logic here. So by default is false. That means it doesn't take any action. But I want to take some actions here. What action I want to take place? Navigate the users. So if you want to navigate the users from one screen to another screen, there is a function called navigate function, guys. So this function is asking us to pass what? Target. That means the target screen to navigate. What is my screen? Just pass the screen name. So pass the screen name as what? Screen 2. Just close it. So whenever I go and click on this button, what happens? On select of this button, this function will execute. Let me go and save the app and then play. Now see, when I click on this button, now if you observe, it is going to the screen 2 or not? Yes, it is going to the screen 2. But I'm not able to view the form here. Why I'm not able to view the form here? Let me explain, guys. When the app is in the play mode, I'm not able to view the form because let me explain you. Here, this is the form we added, right? This form will have one property, guys. This form will have one property called mode property. So what is the default mode of this form? This form is in which mode by default? Form is in edit mode. Here, the form will have 3 different modes, guys. What are those? New, edit, and view. These are the 3 different modes we'll have for the form. By default, the form is in which mode? Edit mode, right? So here, what's my requirement here is, I am creating this form here. I'm creating this form to enter the new student's data. I'm creating this form for what? To enter the new student data. Whenever if you are creating a form to enter the new data, then make sure your form mode should be new, guys. Make sure your form should be in which mode? New mode. Whenever if you are creating a form to enter the new data, make sure the form should be in the new mode. So now next, when to make the form as edit and when to make the form as view, guys. I'll discuss in the coming classes. For around 1.5 hours, I think not 1.5 hours, more than 2.5 hours, guys. In the coming classes, nearly 3 hours. Nearly 3 hours, I'll discuss. I'll take one valid scenario and then I will show you when to make the form as edit, when to make the form as view. It will take some time for us. So for now, just keep in mind, whenever if you are entering the new data in the form, then at that time, you need to make sure the form should be in the new mode. So you can see those modes here, guys. 3 modes. Now, I don't recommend to change the form mode to new here. It is not recommended, guys. I don't recommend. When to make the form as a new form? In the screen 1, whenever the user click on this button, at that time, I want to make the form as a new form. So before navigating the users to the screen 2, what's my requirement here is, first of all, I want to reset that form. Maybe the form contains any data already. So clear that form data. So if you want to reset the form, there is a function called what? Reset form function. Reset form. Now you need to pass the form name. Which form you want to reset? Form 1. Next, once after resetting the form, next make the form as a new form. Because I want to enter the new data, so I want to make the form as a new form. To make the form as a new form, there is a function called new form function. Which form I want to make it as new? Form 1. Simple. So whenever the user click on this button, how many actions will take place? First, it will reset the form. Next, it is going to make the form as what? New form. And then go to the screen 2. Now save it and then play. When I click on get started, if you observe, now I'm able to view the form or not? Yes, because now the form is in which mode? New mode. So now go and enter the data. Let's check I'm entering the record. Let's take name is equals to Sunil. Email ID. Let's take some mobile number. Let's take course Power BI, education background BTech. Let's take I'm entering some data. Now, whatever the data I'm entering here in this form, what's my requirement now? I want to store this data in the SharePoint list. To store that data, the user need to click on what button? Submit button. Now, if you see when the user click on this button, now the record is submitted. If I go and check the SharePoint, no, the data is not submitted, guys. Why? Because we added the button. Now you need to tell the Power Apps, whenever the user click on this button, what action it need to take. What action it need to take? It need to submit the data to the SharePoint. So let me select this button and then go to the property called onSelect property. OnSelect property of this button, to submit the data, there is a function, simple function, submit form function. Submit form. Which form? Form 1. Simple guys, submit form 1. Now, once after submitting the form, what's my requirement here is I want to show some success message to the user, success message, so that the user can understand that the form is submitted successfully. So what I'll do here is I'll go and add one more screen. I'll add one more screen called success screen, guys. Add a new screen. Let me go and change the fill color for this screen also. Let me go and add one text label. And then here I'll go and keep the text as the form is submitted successfully. Form is submitted successfully, right? Let me change the color, text color to white. And then I want to add some tick mark also here. Let me go to the insert tab, add a checkbox, check icon. Let me add this. Just drag and drop and keep it here in the center. Change the color to white, right? Okay, now it looks good. So what need to happen now? Whenever the user click on submit button, first submit the data and then semicolon, semicolon. Next, what I want to do, I want to execute one more action. That is navigate the user to which screen? Screen 3. Just pass the screen name. First submit the data. Once of submitting, then navigate the user to the success screen, guys. Now save the app and then play. Now this is the record. Sunil is the record. Now click on submit. When I click on submit, now see the record is submitted and it is going to the success screen, guys. Right? Now go and check the data in the SharePoint. Now see, Sunil record is submitted or not? Yes, it is submitted. So still now we discussed about what? Still now we discussed about how to create an app in the Power Apps, how the users will enter the data in the form. Whatever the data they're entering, we understand how to store that data in the SharePoint. Now next we need to understand about what? Now whatever the data I'm having in the SharePoint, I want to show that data in the Power Apps now. Now how to show that same data again in the Power Apps? Let me show you guys. If you want to show the data again the Power Apps, so I'm having two students data is there. I want to show that data again in the Power Apps now. To show that data, what I'll do, I'll go and add another one more screen. Go and add another screen, guys. One more screen, screen 4. Now in this screen, as I'm going to show the data which already exists, let me go and add one text label and keep the text as data. Or I'm going to use here to show the data, one of the control called gallery control. So I'll use the text as gallery data. So I'm going to use one control called gallery to show the data. That's why I'm using this word, right? Okay. And next, I want to show the data here now. To show the data in the Power Apps, which is already there in the data sources, then we'll go and use one control called gallery control. There is a control called what? Gallery. Let me go and select this control. When I select the control, it will add that control to the screen. Just drag and drop the control here. Increase the height, reduce somehow the width. Right. And now, once after this, let me select this gallery, go to the property called layout property. For now, I'll select the layout as this one, title, subtitle, and body. For now, just try to understand how I'm showing the data, guys. Whatever I discussed here in today's class around from last 1 hour, 10 minutes, every point we are going to cover in a detailed way in the coming classes, right? Once after change the layout, now what data I want to show here in this gallery control? Students data, right? So let me select the gallery, go to the data source, and then select the source as students. Now automatically it will show the data here. 2 students is there. The 2 students data it is showing here. If you see, student email ID, student course, and name. But it is showing that it is not showing the data in a proper way. First, I want to show the student name. So for that, select this value email, and then here it is showing what? Email ID. This item dot email. But I want to show what? S name. This item dot S name. And then keep it in the bold, student name in the bold, increase the font size to 24. Let me keep it as 30. Still it is not looking better. Keep it as 35. Okay, it feels better. And next, let me select the second value. Here I want to show the course only. Keep it in semi-bold, increase the font size to 30. Font size to 30. It looks better. Next, here I want to show the email ID. This item dot email. Right? Fine. Let me keep it in semi-bold, increase the font size to 26. Right. Okay, it feels better now. And now next, I'm showing those two students data here. Next, so it doesn't looks better. So I'll add some fill color also. I'll go and add some color. Right. Now it looks better, guys. Let me add some border also. Border. Right. It looks better now. So how many students is there in the SharePoint? 2 students. That 2 students data I'm showing here or yes. So let's say if I go and create another one more record. Let's say I'll create another one more record. Let me keep the name is equals to Finch. Student name is equals to Finch. Email ID. Mobile number. SQL is the course. Education background. I'm going to submit the data. Now it is going to the success screen. If I go and check the data in the SharePoint, yes, the record is created. Now let me go and check in the Power Apps. That record is showing in the gallery or not. Now see, automatically that record comes here. So still now we understand how to create a record in the SharePoint from Power Apps and how to show the data in the Power Apps again. Next, we'll understand about how to work with the data, guys. So working with data means what? I said that we can do a lot of things. You can update the data, you can delete the data, you can search the data, you can filter the data, you can sort the data. So there are a lot of things we can do, guys. So I'll show you, I'll go and discuss how to work with the data extensively 9 to 10 hours in the coming classes. So in today's class, I'll give one simple example how to work with the data. That means delete. I'll show you one simple example of delete here. So how to remove the data? Now I'm having 3 employees details, right? Now I want to delete the data. So let's take, I want to remove one of this. Let's take, I want to remove Finch record now. Only Finch. Remaining, I don't want to do. So if I'm not going to remove the data here in the Power App case, I want to remove the data in the SharePoint, right? So how to do it? Simple. Select the gallery, and then this gallery will have something here called, there is an option, edit icon. If you observe, edit icon is there. When I forward the mouse on this, it is showing some option called edit gallery. Select this edit gallery so that it will select the top one item in the gallery. It is selecting the top one item. And then go to the insert tab. I'll go and add one trash icon. Trash icon. Let me select that icon. Now see, it is adding that icon automatically to the gallery. And then select this icon. Keep it wherever you want. Select the icon. This icon will have a property called on select property. Go to the on select. So whenever I select this icon, what need to happen? I want to remove the data. To remove the data, there is a function called remove function. Remove. Now where I want to remove the data? In the students list. In the students list. In the students list, what data I want? Whatever the data you are selecting in the gallery. So gallery one dot selected. So gallery one means the name of this gallery. Name of this gallery. In this gallery, which value you are selecting, that value go and remove in the students list. That's all, simple. Now save the app and then play. Now see, let's take, I want to remove the Finch record now. So Finch record is there in the SharePoint. I want to remove it from the Power App. So when I click on trash, if you see, that record is deleted or yes, it is deleted. If I go and check the data in the SharePoint, still it is there. But when I refresh the data. Now see, I'm having the Finch record here. No, it is not there, guys. So this is how you can go and work with the data. I'm giving one simple example of deleting, guys. So there is a lot of things we need to understand in the coming classes, how to work with the data, right? Fine. So this is all about how to create one app with some 4 different screens, and then how we'll go and enter some data in the Power App. Whatever data we're entering, how to submit the data to the data sources, and then how we'll go and display that same data again in the Power Apps. Once of displaying the data, next how we'll go and work. Let's take, I'm showing an example of deleting the records here, right? So I'm done with the session here in today's class. So this is what about Power Apps and about the data sources. So if you here, whatever the topics I covered, if you see, I discussed about gallery. I'm discussing about the gallery here around 10 minutes. I covered the topic, but in the coming classes, gallery's topic, I'm going to cover 5 hours, guys. 5 hours we'll discuss about the sorry, it is a form. I'll discuss 5 hours about the forms. Coming to gallery also, I'm going to cover 5 hours in the coming classes. We'll go on deep dive into the concepts. There is no doubt. And also working with the data. Here I'm going to show you one simple example, working with the data. But in the coming classes, I just said that you are going to learn around 9 to 10 hours about how to work with the data. So whatever I'm going to show you in the next coming around 20 sessions or around 25 sessions, I'm showing you at an high level within 1 hour, 2.5 hour sessions, right? So no doubt each and every topic, each and every control, we are going to deep dive in our upcoming sessions. So now here in today's class, what we understand in this 4-step business applications process, we discussed about how to create an app using Power Apps. We understand at a high level how to create an app using Power Apps. And also we understand from Power Apps how we'll go and store the data in the data sources. These 2 points we covered. Next, what I need to do, whenever the data comes into the data source, immediately by taking the data as a reference, I want to go and do some sort of automations, guys. Whenever the record is created in the SharePoint, immediately by taking the student's data as a reference, I want to do some automations. What automations? Let me go here. So whenever I go and click on the submit button, when I click on submit button, what happens? The data comes into the SharePoint. So which student record you created, whichever the student record you created, by taking that student email as a reference, I want to send one automated email for that student. I want to send an automated email to the student regarding what? Regarding the course he is inquiring. For which course the student is inquired, regarding that course, I want to send one automated email to the student whenever the record is inserted. So for this, I'll go and use which software? Power Automate. So with the help of Power Automate, how to send the automated emails to the students regarding the courses they inquired. When I want to send the automated email to the student regarding the courses, whenever the record is inserted, whenever the new record is inserted, immediately send the email to the student regarding which course he is inquiring. I don't want to send the other course details, guys. For which course he is inquiring, that course only. Sunil is inquiring for Power BI. Warner is inquiring for Power Apps. For which course the student is inquiring, how we come to know what course the student is inquired, and how we can compose an email automatically at the runtime, and how we can send that emails to the students. That's what the agenda for next class tomorrow. So using Power Automate, how to do the automations, we'll cover in the next class tomorrow. Continuation, guys. Continuation of today's class will be tomorrow. That is about Power Automate, introduction to Power Automate, right? So I done with the today's session. So as I said that you have the 3 free classes. You can have 3 free classes. So till now we completed only 2. Tomorrow is the 3rd free class, guys. Tomorrow is the 3rd free class. So people, you can use the same link. Online people use the same link to attend the class tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 3rd free class. Use the same link to attend the tomorrow's class. What I'll discuss in the next class tomorrow? Introduction to what? Power Automate, right? Fine, guys. I'll stop here today, and I'll see you in the next class tomorrow, same time, 7:30 p.m., where we'll discuss about introduction to Power. Now, let's go with the questions. I'll stop now. And now, if you have any questions, online people, now you can please raise your hands, and I'll talk to you one-on-one. Yes.